Hello, everyone. It has been a good little while since we have checked in with each other. It's because God has been doing like a lot with me, and it's been like um, just a lot of like neck whipping. Like the Holy Spirit is just like moving so dynamically in this season. And I'm like, what, God, what? God is like, I got you. Keep up. Let's do it. We're doing the things. And one of the messages that has come out of this time with God and really experiencing like how big God is and how provident God is how there was a lesson God taught me last week. And I just wanted to share briefly. And the lesson is your obedience reveals God's providence. Yeah, it took me for a loop. So I'm going to try to keep this short. So, long story short, last week, there's some stuff going on with me, and I've been waiting to have this meeting with this person. And last Sunday, they finally approached me and was like, "Hey, we're gonna meet this week." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And God was like, "Yeah, you know what time it is." And so, like, I figured, like, God was saying, you all are gonna meet this week. That gentleman told you all were gonna meet because this was the ordained time for you all to meet. And so Tuesday had came around, and I hadn't gotten a call. And I was like, okay, God, you said we were meeting this week. And God was like, you are. And I'm like, okay, cool, 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 cool. Show me how to prepare. And so I like entered prayer and like things like that. And so Wednesday rolled around, and Wednesday was like a really tough day, and I was really busy. It was super hot in these Vegas streets, so I was tired. And so, like 5 minutes from my house, this sign on the side of the road that I pass all the time, but this time it jumped out at me. It was like a flashing red light, and it said church. And I was like, church? And then a sign like 1,000 feet ahead of it was like open, and God was like, church is open. I was like, church is open? God was like, church is open. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like still driving toward my house, and God was like, turn around. And I'm like, turn around? God was like, turn around, go to the church. And I'm like, okay. And so the whole time I'm like driving to the church, I'm like, okay, God, I don't know why you have me driving to this church, but I'm going to be obedient. Show me what I'm supposed to do here, like what I'm supposed to pray, or like, whatever, like what's going on. So I get to the church, and I'm like, okay, God, what do I do next? And the church is like 20 minutes away, mind you. And I was 5 minutes away from my house. So a big turnaround. And so big enough. And so I get there, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I go into the bathroom, and there's someone there, and they like were kind of shocked to see me, and they were like, hey, Deborah. And I was like, hi. Like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here either, but I'm just following the Lord. I'm having this internal conversation. So I go to the bathroom, I come out, and I'm like waiting around in the waiting area, like, and I was asking myself, like, is so and so here, the person I was supposed to be meeting with? And I was like, God, are they here? Are they here? So I text someone else from our community, and I was like, do you know if so and so is like in the building today? And they were like, I don't know, but here's their number. And I'm like, okay, cool. And as I was about to leave the building, God was like, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like literally outside in the sun, and I'm texting the individual, like, hey, I know you said you wanted to meet this week. I felt a pull to come to the church. I just wanted to check in and see where you are with the things. Lo and behold, God was like, now you can leave. I'm like, okay. So I'm driving back toward my house, and 7 minutes as I'm driving, and within 7 minutes, I got a text from this person. It was like, and the person was like, oh my God, I meant to text you this morning, but I got so busy, and I really wanted us to meet today. Can you meet at 3 o'clock? And I was like, yep. I pulled over on the side of the road, finished texting them, and I was like, yes, I can meet today at 3 o'clock. And as I was driving home, went to the store, did my thing, and God was like, your obedience reveals my providence. And I was like, whoa. Like, that was such a huge message. Your obedience reveals my providence. And God was just like, there are things, mainly all the things I have already set in stone for you to move through you, to have you do, to all the things, but it's going to take you listening to me very closely and quickening your steps to my voice and just going, even when you have no clue why you're moving left or moving right or jumping up in the air 3 times. Know that It is to trigger something else. It is to trigger the ripple effect of things to make sure that my will is manifested in the way it was supposed to be manifested, because sometimes people get off track. So when you are obedient to my leading, when you are obedient to my voice and to my guidance, then you will see that it was all for a reason. Then you will see how my providence was always over this thing, that my will was always for this to happen. But I needed you to move even when you didn't understand, for the ripple effect to take place, to move into the earth my will. And that is why y'all had the meeting that y'all was supposed to have today at 3 o'clock. And so I just want to encourage y'all, even when you do not understand why God is having you move left or right, jump up and down in the air 3 times, if you hear that voice and you know it's from God and you know the voice of God, even when you do not understand, be quick to move, be quick to obey, so that the will of God can move forth in the timing that it was destined to move forth, in the way that it was destined to move forth for your benefit, for your benefit, and for the will of God to do what it was supposed to do and come into fulfillment. So remember that your obedience will always reveal God's providence. Bye.